recovery and recharge on a 2006 Dodge Ram. This is owned by one of the body shop employees at the body shop that I'm working at right now. I'm doing 2 other vehicles inside the building, and he contacted me. He wanted his AC redone on his vehicle because it's not getting as cold. And as you can see, like, it's misting and there's water falling right now. It's not getting cold enough for him. And also it will affect defrost. If your refrigerant level is too low, you don't defrost so well in your vehicle. You have to have the air conditioning to defrost properly. So I'm pulling out the refrigerant right now. We're down to 3. I tested the refrigerant, it was good. And it's just going to be a recharge. He's the original owner on this 2000 and, did I say it was? 2006. 2006, it's a gas vehicle. It makes a difference whether it's gas or diesel on the refrigerant charge. You can see 3.7 liter gas vehicle. And if you come over here to the sticker, a lot of times stickers will be missing and guys go on the internet and they look for a charge. Well, if somebody gives you the fill amount for a diesel is 850 grams. A gas vehicle is 728 grams. So if the person who put on the internet that their Dodge Ram 1500 had 850 grams, and you look this up on the internet and you have a gas vehicle, you just got the wrong charge and you'll be grossly overcharged. And I've seen this many times where I'm called into shops because the sticker wasn't here. The shop was either too lazy or they don't own any software for specifications. They found the 850 gram recharge on these little Dodges. And remember, on these, look at the size of this condenser. This little tiny thing, this is like the Honda from, remember in the 1980s, maybe early 1990s, I think it was more like in the 80s. Honda had a little setup like this where they had this tiny condenser that was way undersized for the vehicle, especially for hot climates. And that's what Dodge did here. So on this specific one, this only takes 728 grams, not 850 grams for this vehicle. And he lives up in a place where it's really hot, but he commutes to work down to here where it's usually always like this, nice comfortable weather. He's thinking of changing. He asked me, what can I do to make his AC work better? And this was the first year make model, he said, vehicle where they came up with the system where they put the radiator on one side and then they put the condenser on the other side. And I told him, when body shop guys can do this because they're really good at it. You can convert your vehicle back over if you have the mountings, or with a little bit of conversion, you can get the older radiator and condenser setup where they had a full size condenser and the sheet metal and all the brackets and everything like that, and convert this later model vehicle to the previous year and go back to the bigger radiator and bigger condenser and swap out all the brackets, because body shop guys do this every day, so they're good at it. And he converts it back over to the old style. And what I also tell you, if you live in a place where it's always like 110 degrees and over in the summertime, 105, and you're uncomfortable, and if you have a vehicle that is like this Dodge Ram where it came on a chassis platform that was either a van or an SUV, and it had a system that had the option of 2 evaporators, front and rear, you select the condenser that was for an SUV or van that had 2 evaporators, but you do it for your pickup truck that only has 1 evaporator. And what you'll notice is the condenser for a dual evaporator SUV, especially, you got to think of, an SUV has a lot more, or a van has a lot more cubic feet of interior to cool. It has more surface area of sheet metal that radiates heat into the system and more window space. So they need that condenser to have a higher heat rejection rate. So you'll notice that the condenser for a dual evaporator system will be thicker, and sometimes physically bigger, but sometimes exactly the same size in dimension, height, and width as a single evaporator vehicle. But the condenser for the dual will fit in the same spot, but you'll notice it's thicker, and it might have more tubes and fins, but you'll definitely notice it's thicker. So you get that dual evaporator condenser, and you put it on your vehicle that has a single evaporator like a pickup, and you get better summertime cooling. Now you may have to, you'll sometimes have to adjust the refrigerant charge, and I won't go into that right now, but that's what you do to get better cooling for your single evaporator system. Another thing you do, you can add extra electric fans on there to compensate for the lack of ability of what was originally on here. And here you got a mechanical fan, and I don't know if they have a no electrical fan in there. Well, they have electrical fan on the condenser. The condenser, you have electric fan. But if you went over to some of those systems that only had a mechanical engine fan on the big condenser with no electric one, you add electric ones. And you add it, and you put a temperature sensor on your discharge line of your compressor, so you can take the temperature. Now you could go pressure sensor, use a pressure transducer to activate your secondary fans, or you could use temperature, and you could use a temperature sensor that activates a relay, and then the relay kicks in your secondary condenser fans. And instead of just activating the condenser fans with the clutch engagement, you don't always want that. Sometimes you want to wait until the pressure gets to a certain pressure and then activate your condenser fans. And you could set the cut in, cut out, so you don't overcool on cooler days. You don't need your electric fans on all the time if you're adding electric fans, because on cool days like today, you don't need that. So you wouldn't want to use them. All right, guys, I'll see you later. That was enough about this, and I need to charge this up now. Throw it on a vacuum pump and then charge it. See ya.